Hello and welcome back to our channel. Today we are going to discuss the case of Jeffrey Dahmer. Please be advised that this video may be disturbing due to the nature of the topic discussed. Viewer discretion is advised. Jeffrey Dahmer, a seemingly ordinary man from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, concealed a sinister secret behind his calm facade. In the late 1980s and early 1990s, Dahmer systematically hunted down young men, many of them African American or Hispanic, preying on their vulnerability and ultimately taking their lives. But his crimes were far from ordinary. He engaged in acts of cannibalism and necrophilia and even experimented with turning his victims into zombies through a combination of drugs and surgery. Today we delve into the chilling tale of Jeffrey Dahmer, exploring the depths of his depravity and examining the factors that might have contributed to his monstrous deeds. Dahmer's journey into the abyss of darkness began in his youth. Born on May 21, 1960, his early life exhibited signs of what would later emerge as disturbing tendencies. He developed a fascination with dead animals, a morbid curiosity that would foreshadow the macabre activities that lay ahead. While attending South Division High School, his classmates noticed peculiar behaviors in Dahmer, describing him as strange and aloof. His academic performance was lackluster, and he seemed disconnected from his peers. During summer break between 11th and 12th grade, he dropped out of school. Despite having aspirations to become a medical illustrator, his future held a darker path. In 1978, at the age of 18, Dahmer took the life of his first victim, marking the beginning of his horrific killing spree. On June 18th, he responded to an ad placed in the classified section of the newspaper by 19-year-old hitchhiker Stephen Hicks, who was seeking a ride to a rock concert. Dahmer invited Hicks to his home, promising him alcohol. However, when Hicks attempted to leave, Dahmer bludgeoned him to death with a dumbbell. Over the next few weeks, Dahmer dismembered Hicks's body, disposing of the remains in trash bags scattered across the city. This chilling incident would be the first of many, with Dahmer continuing his reign of terror for over a decade. Motivated by a desire to control and dominate other human beings, Dahmer targeted his victims, primarily young men of color. He specifically sought out African Americans and Hispanics, whom he believed would be less likely to be reported missing if they disappeared. His preferred method was to lure his victims to his home with false pretenses, such as offering money for photographs or posing as a potential romantic partner. Once inside his apartment, he would drug, strangle, and dismember the men, taking pleasure in their helplessness and fear. What set Dahmer apart from many other serial killers was his unusual practice of preserving body parts, particularly the skulls. He kept these remains in his refrigerator or freezer, engaging in acts of cannibalism and necrophilia with the preserved flesh. Dahmer's behavior was driven by a desire to possess and control his victims, even in death. He fantasized about creating zombies by drilling into the skulls of sleeping victims and injecting them with drugs, believing this would allow him to have them under his control. In addition to his crimes, Dahmer kept a diary detailing his exploits and the names of his victims. He described his actions in a detached and matter-of-fact manner, showing little remorse or empathy for the lives he had taken. The sheer brutality and macabre nature of his crimes shocked the nation, raising questions about the depths of human depravity. On July 1991, Jeffrey Dahmer's reign of terror came to an end, when he was arrested after a pivotal encounter with a young boy named Conrad Symphone. On that fateful day, Symphone managed to escape from Dahmer's apartment, leaving behind a trail of blood and leading police officers on a pursuit across Milwaukee. Despite the boy's desperate state, the police returned him to Dahmer's custody, assuming he had simply run away from home. Tragically, he was murdered just an hour later. This incident, along with mounting evidence against him, eventually led to Dahmer's capture. As news of Dahmer's arrest spread, a collective gasp of horror echoed across the nation. People struggled to comprehend the extent of his atrocities, which included not only murder but also cannibalism and necrophilia. The thought of someone living among them hiding such darkness sent chills down their spines. The details of the crimes he confessed to were so disturbing that they pushed the boundaries of human imagination. He revealed that he had lured his victims to his home under false pretenses, subdued them with drugs or alcohol, and then strangled them to death. He would then dismember their bodies, disposing of the remains in various locations. The motive behind Dahmer's actions remained shrouded in mystery. Mental health experts who examined him diagnosed him with recurrent major depression and sociopathic personality disorder. They suggested that a combination of biological and environmental factors had contributed to his disturbing behavior. Some pointed to his fascination with death and necrophilia as signs of a deeper psychological disturbance. Others highlighted his desire for control and power over others as a key motivator. Throughout the criminal proceedings, the nation was captivated by each new revelation. As witnesses came forward to share their encounters with Dahmer and his victims, a clearer picture emerged of the monster who had been stalking the streets of Milwaukee. The evidence against him was overwhelming, and there was little doubt that justice would be served. The trial itself was a media sensation, with reporters and cameras camped outside the courthouse. People yearned to catch a glimpse of the man who had become synonymous with unimaginable evil. When Dahmer pleaded guilty to 15 counts of murder, a collective sigh of relief swept through the nation. It seemed that the nightmare was finally coming to an end. But the nightmare was far from over. As the trial progressed, details of his crimes continued to shock and disturb the public. Witnesses recounted the gruesome discoveries made in Dahmer's apartment, including the sight of human skulls in the refrigerator. The mere mention of such horrors sent shivers down the spines of those listening. As the trial drew to a close, many people began to wonder about the punishment that awaited Dahmer. How could any sentence adequately reflect the magnitude of his atrocities? The judge overseeing the case had a decision to make. The nation held its breath as the verdict was delivered. Guilty. The word echoed through the courtroom and beyond, confirming what everyone already knew, but it was still a necessary step towards justice. Jeffrey Dahmer was sentenced to 15 consecutive life terms, ensuring that he would never walk free. For some, this verdict brought a sense of closure. Dahmer would never harm anyone ever again. He was locked away, cut off from the world. But for others, the sentence felt like a mere slap on the wrist. How could a man who had committed such heinous acts be allowed to live? However, Dahmer's time behind bars was not without controversy. Fellow inmates claimed that he bragged about his crimes and even sold drawings of his victims to other prisoners. These revelations painted a disturbing picture of Dahmer's psyche, even in captivity. Tragedy struck once again, when in November 1994, at the age of 34, Dahmer was beaten to death in the shower by a fellow inmate at the Columbia Correctional Institution in Portage, Wisconsin. The inmate, Christopher Scarver, reportedly carried out the attack after becoming enraged by Dahmer's refusal to help him with a drawing. The news of Dahmer's death sent shockwaves across the country. Some saw it as divine retribution, while others questioned whether such brutality was a fitting end for a man who had shown no remorse for his actions. So why did Jeffrey Dahmer commit his gruesome crimes? Fortunately, there is no single answer that can fully explain his horrifying actions. Many believe that a combination of factors contributed to his descent into darkness. Dahmer's troubled childhood, coupled with his fascination with death and necrophilia, created a dangerous mix. His desire for control and power over others, along with his targeting of vulnerable individuals, points to a deep-seated sense of entitlement and lack of empathy. Additionally, his ability to rationalize his actions and manipulate those around him, such as the police officers who failed to recognize the gravity of his crimes, further emphasizes the complexity of his character. In the end, Jeffrey Dahmer's case remains a haunting reminder of the capacity for evil that exists within humanity. His crimes shook the nation and raised profound questions about mental illness, societal prejudice, and the limits of human depravity. As we reflect on his chilling tale, let us remember the victims and strive to create a world where such horrors never repeat themselves. What do you think about the case of Jeffrey Dahmer? We would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Please remember to like, subscribe, and share this video with those who might find it interesting. Your support means everything to us. Keep watching our channel for more captivating content. Thanks for tuning in. Take care and stay curious.